with all my songs, I don't really know any different, so I have to talk about personal experiences. I guess it's not necessarily just about one person, it's really about finding happiness and being confident in that and not allowing anyone to take that away from you.
Dua Lipa has become one of the biggest names in pop. From the moment she released her first single in 2015, there was no limit to what she would achieve. Her catchy pop tunes and smooth, sultry vocals have made her music appeal to a wide audience, gaining her fans across the globe. Her commitment and positivity towards her goals and music career have made her the deserving winner of countless awards, including 2 Grammys. Dua Lipa's popularity quickly expanded between 2015 and 2018. By 2018, she had become the first female artist to hit 1 billion views on YouTube on her hit single, New Rules.
If you're not a female artist that's by a piano or by a guitar, people are instantly going to think you're manufactured, or you don't write your own songs, or you don't make your own music. And I feel like we have to spend a lot more time kind of proving to the world that this is us.
2 years on, New Rules has over 2 billion views. Her music brings an essence of confidence and authenticity, which her fans adore.
When I get up on stage, I do what I feel. I dance away. I feel like just my body moves, and I like to perform in different ways. I kind of find myself doing head banging and throwing kicks and jumping up and down rather than having like a set choreography. I feel like for me that's way more organic. If I just kind of go into the studio and I write fiction, although it's my words, if I don't have the story to back it up with, no one's going to believe it. And I think that's also a big part of my songwriting as well, and why I feel like I do it the way I do.
With a long-lasting career ahead of her, Dua Lipa has cemented her legacy in pop from such a young age.
When I think of it, and what I would like to say to like my younger audience is that no matter what you decide to put your mind to, you should always work really hard for it, always believe in yourself, because one thing that I know is I always had to believe in myself first before anybody else. And that was the one thing that I felt really carried me and helped me build my confidence and really helped me learn who I am as an artist and as a person.
Dua Lipa was born in London, England, to Kosovo Albanian parents. She has always praised her parents for being positive influences on her life, even to this day.
Being from 2 places at once, I feel like I represent both Kosovo and I feel like the UK at the same time. I've seen my parents work my whole life. I've seen them, you know, go to work during the day, go to university in the evening, you know, take us to school, be parents, be there for us at the same time, get an education, working multiple jobs. I've seen them, you know, kind of adapt to whatever was thrown at them, and at the same time make us feel like we weren't missing out on anything. And I think watching them work so hard has been so ingrained on me that I'm, I guess, a little bit of a workaholic. I feel like I can't stop until I get what I want or I am where I want to be. And I actually thank my parents for that, because they've always told me that you have to work really hard to get a little bit of luck, and you make your own luck. And that's the best advice that I think I've ever been given.
She clarified with fans that while Dua Lipa may sound like somewhat of a stage name, it is in fact her birth name, and Dua can be translated to mean love in Albanian.
Well, I guess when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate my name as much as I guess I do now, because especially when I was living in London, I was like, I just want a normal name. I'm really proud of it, and it has such a lovely meaning, and my grandmother, it was like my grandmother's favourite name, which is why my dad gave it to me, and never actually got to meet her because she passed before I was born, so I always feel like I get to keep a piece of her with me.
Dua's father had a large musical influence on her, as he was the lead singer and guitarist of a Kosovan rock band. Her father continued to play music at home, which inspired her to get involved with music herself. She started singing at age 5. She attended Sylvia Young Theatre School until the age of 13, when she moved from London to Kosovo with her family.
It was quite exciting for me because I'd finished year 6, all my friends were going to different schools. I was kind of not going to the same school as my closest friends from primary school anyway, so I was like, I guess I'm just going to a different country. And I was really excited because I had family in Kosovo that I'd never met before. And so, I went to Kosovo and it was really exciting, but obviously I thought my Albanian speaking was a lot better than it was until I started going to school and everyone was like, okay, you're definitely talking Albanian like an English person would, like fully with an accent. But it was an amazing experience. It was such a different kind of life.
As a teenager, Dua Lipa began recording herself singing covers of popular pop songs and uploaded them to YouTube. Although her true passion was in music, she began a modeling career around this time and signed with an agency. This then helped her acquire a producer and manager, allowing her to enter the world of music professionally. In 2014, Dua Lipa signed a record deal with the large production company Warner Brothers Records. This has been called a smart decision on her part, as the company didn't have a large female register at that time, which meant she captured their attention from day one and helped to change that. In August 2015, she released her first single titled New Love, which was all about her struggle to find her place in the music industry. Her second single, Be the One, was released to large European success, charting in the top 10 in over 11 European territories. The UK and Europe began in January 2016 and concluded in November the same year. On February 18, 2016, Dua Lipa released her third single, Last Dance, followed by Hotter Than Hell on May. Hotter Than Hell reached success, particularly in the UK, where it peaked at number 15. On August 26th, her fifth overall single, Blow Your Mind, was released, peaking at number 30 in the UK. It became her first entry on the US Billboard Hot 100, debuting at number 72.
The album, are you a bit with trepidation?
I'm really excited. I just got back from LA yesterday and I've been working, finishing it off, and it's finally really come together. I've got some really special surprises, so.
And you're going to be performing some of these new tracks at festivals this summer, I guess?
Yeah. Well, some of the album will be out by then, so.
Dua Lipa's self-entitled debut studio album was released on the 2nd of June 2017.
I'm very excited for everyone to hear the new record. I think, for me, again, it's also being able to have that ongoing conversation with my fans and my listeners with the music, and also ensuring that they have a safe space and a place where they can come and listen to the music and hang out, and that's what's really important for me.
Its sixth single, New Rules, released in the following month, became her first #1 in the UK and the first by a female solo artist to reach the top in the UK since Adele's song Hello in 2015. Rules was met with acclaim from music critics, with many labeling it a breakup and female empowerment anthem. As of March 2021, it is the most streamed song by a British female in the UK, and it broke the record for the most weeks on the US mainstream Top 40 chart.
I feel like I'm very much more in touch with who I am, which was something that I was very, especially when I started the songwriting process properly for my album. Now I have a very clear idea of what I'm doing and what I want to say and who I am, and things I'm not afraid of.
Another successful single from the album was the track IDGAF. Lyrically, the song is about an ex-boyfriend who intends to get back with her before she sends him on his way.
When with all my songs, I don't really know any different, so I have to talk about personal experiences. It's really kind of, I guess it's not necessarily just about one person, it's more just like about experiences, about things that I've spoken to with my friends, about their experiences as well. It's really about finding happiness and being confident in that and not allowing anyone to take that away from you. For me, the way I like to think about it is like I work on these songs and once they're out into the world, they no longer belong to me. So whatever they want to make of it, it's up to them. I think art is subjective. I think some people will also want to pretend it's about them.
Several music critics complimented the strong production and post-breakup lyrics of IDGAF. The song was viewed as a sequel to New Rules. She also performed at the Glastonbury Festival that same year to a large crowd of adoring fans.
Do you know what? I never like to base success on accolades, but on getting the recognition and getting up there in front of my fans and my peers, it does mean a lot, and I appreciate it so much, and it makes me want to work really, really hard, and I'm excited for new music. Sometimes it's just the little things.
In December, Dua Lipa was named the most streamed woman of 2017 in the UK by Spotify. She had 4 singles reach the UK top 10 in 2017, with Be the One, New Rules, No Lie, and Bridge Over Troubled Water, a charity single for the families of the victims of the Grenfell Tower fire in London.
It's been really lovely, and it's been really nice, and it's given me the opportunity to tour all over the world, and I've announced some dates in the US, and I'm just really grateful for it all, so I'm looking forward to everything.
It feels like almost at that time when we started going, it's been a good year, what about next year, 2018?
Well, next year I'm really touring until April 2018, but in between, whenever I have time, I'm writing for the next album. I'll be releasing new music, new videos, so yeah, I'll be around.
Even as those bigger shows, how do you feel about that step up in terms of the capacity?
I mean, it's surreal to get to announce shows like that, but it's really cool. It makes me a bit nervous. I'm excited. I've already started planning, because every show I want it to be like a step up production-wise, and I want it to be like, I want to bring a whole new show every time people come to see it, so I'm really looking forward to it.
In January 2018, Dua Lipa received nominations in 5 categories at the Brit Awards, more nominations than any other artist that year. She was nominated for British Album of the Year for Dua Lipa, British Single of the Year and British Video of the Year for New Rules, British Female Solo Artist, and British Breakthrough Act. She went on to win British Female Solo Artist and British Breakthrough Act. This was the first time that a female artist had received 5 nominations. Dua took this opportunity when receiving the awards to make a statement about women in the music industry and show her feminist side.
I've always been so in love with so many incredible female artists, and I've always looked up to them, and they've been there. But I think now we're at a time where people are really paying attention to us, and so are screaming real loud. Even by seeing, the nominations in different categories at award shows, it's changed drastically. Every year it kind of changes and gets better in our favor. And I think that's a nice feeling. For men, getting older in an industry is celebrated, whereas for women, we're instantly being put down, or surely she can't be still doing pop music because she's getting older, or, you know, whatever the I guess the dialogue is, but it's quite upsetting, because why can't we? As a you know, as a female artist, or in general for all female artists, when we start something in our careers, we want to have longevity, and we don't want the reason of us aging to be the reason we stop working or people stop being interested in us. We still create very interesting things. We still have a lot to say. We still have a lot to bring to the table. But why is it so different for us? And I think it's a lot to do with the conversations that are still being made on social media and being made online, and those aren't allowing us to grow and aren't allowing us to be ourselves. Whereas we portray that very much so when we're speaking, you know, in front of a camera. It's as if like me coming out, you know, now and being like, you know, I support women and I'm doing this, but then I go on social media and I'm talking about or comparing two women against each other, or why one isn't better than the other, or, you know, that kind of thing. It's very hypocritical. And so it's trying to kind of get away from that.
Dua Lipa started working on music for her second album in March 2018. In April 2018, she collaborated with DJ Calvin Harris to release the single One Kiss, which topped the UK singles charts, becoming her second #1. She provided the vocals for the track and is also credited as a writer.
When you hear that, you know, One Kiss has been streamed more than 1.5 billion times,
My goodness.
that's slightly mind-blowing.
You're the first person to have told me that. So I'm like, oh my God. It is mind-blown. It's crazy. And it's, it was one of those songs where I know when we did it, I was like, I constantly kept listening to it, and before it came out, I was like, I just don't know if people are gonna get it. I don't know if people are gonna get it. And it was also, it's kind of that nervous, exciting, anxious butterfly feeling that you get before you put something out. And I think you only get those feelings when you really believe in something and you really want other people to feel the same way about it as you do. So I'm excited that they did, and I'm grateful that they did, and we got a Brit for it, which is pretty cool.
Biggest selling song in the UK of 2018, and topped the chart for 8 consecutive weeks. Dua also collaborated on another track with Mark Ronson and Diplo's newly formed super duo, Silk City. They released the track Electricity in September 2018, which was extremely popular with the fans. Best New Artist and Best Dance Recording for her collaboration on Electricity at the 61st Annual Grammy Awards.
I mean, I get very excited, obviously, for the recognition, especially for something like the Grammys, to be a British artist and to know that people are listening to my songs over there, and that people are coming to the shows and they know my name, and it means a lot to me. Being British and having your music heard over in the States is quite a big deal. At least it is for me, because it gives me so much opportunity to be able to tour there. And not only just in America, but to be able to go over to Australia and New Zealand and go to Asia and South America. And it just opens so many doors to be able to tour worldwide. You know, I very much split my time between London and Los Angeles or New York in order to have my music be heard out there. You know, you need to dedicate a lot of time and a lot of effort and lots of, you know, you have to do the groundwork, and I think I really took the time, and especially when I was touring on my first album, you know, I think I went around America 3 times, you know, just as I did with everywhere else in Europe. You know, I really I guess I worked really hard. I'm so grateful for the recognition, but I've still got lots of work to do.
Dua Lipa's second album, titled Future Nostalgia, and its accompanying tour was announced in December 2019.
When I kept thinking about it, I know that everybody's like, the second album is always kind of the hardest album. But I've tried to kind of take my mind away from that and just have fun with it, you know? People are just constantly releasing songs and releasing music. It's just like, this is the body of work where I just want to show this is what I love, this is what I do. And you can just constantly keep putting stuff out. And it's got to be fun. You can't be too stressed about it. You can't kind of get yourself in this vicious cycle of like, oh, will this go on the radio? Will this be, you know? So it's all about just being proud of what you put your name to, and that's kind of just what I'm doing.
I believe that anything could stop me. Don't show up, don't come out, don't stop caring about me now. Walk away, you know how. Don't stop caring.
The first single, Don't Start Now, was released around the same time and peaked at number 2 in both the UK singles charts and the US Billboard Hot 100. The music video for Physical was nominated for Best Art Director at the Berlin Music Video Awards in 2020. Future Nostalgia was released on March 27th to widespread critical acclaim, following the release of the record's third single, Break My Heart, on March 25th.
It's you and my reflection. I'm afraid of all the things it could do to me. If I would have known it, baby, I would have stayed at home. 'Cause I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I knew that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now there ain't no letting you go. Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? Oh no.
Since March 2020 was around the time of the beginning of the worldwide COVID pandemic, Dua Lipa considered pushing the release date back in hopes of being able to promote the album outside of isolation. However, that didn't quite go as planned. The album originally had a release date of April 3rd, but was leaked a week early, giving her no choice but to deliver fans her new album.
I just feel like when I was making my last album, or like towards the end of it, you know, everything was like, or the way that I was describing it was like, oh, well, my album, you know, I make dark pop and that's just what it is. And I really fell in love with the whole concept of dance crying, because I was like, I want to make people dance, but if you listen to the lyrics a bit more, you know, I feel like it could also make you cry. It's very emotional. It's very real. It's something that's happening in my life. Future Nostalgia just came from so much like happiness and joy and dancing. And that was just the only message that I wanted to push forward. And I feel like it really radiates that, and the energy of it is that. And I didn't feel like I wanted to sit on a piano and make a ballad. I was like, I just want to keep going. Let's just keep dancing. Let's just do it. You know, there was nothing holding me back in that. And creatively, that wasn't where I was at.
Releasing the album during the pandemic meant that there would be no tour or no talk show appearances. However, it just so happened to be the perfect time to deliver new music.
When I was making it, obviously, I had the idea that it was going to be listened to in the club, in a bar, you know, people going out, getting ready. You know, I had very different ideas for it, you know, when I was making this record. But I definitely feel like it still served its purpose, you know. It served for me as a form of escapism, you know, and I feel like, although it was scary when releasing the record, because it was at such an uncertain time, we didn't know how long we would be in this, you know, situation for, how long the pandemic would last. You know, we never thought that we would be a year in and still with you know, the same kind of lockdown measures and stuff like that. But I feel like it also just came at the perfect time, you know, for everybody to be able to have like, or in my eyes, I hope that people had it for them be like a source of escapism, you know, when they're at home and dancing in the kitchen. For 1 second, if you close your eyes, maybe you think you're outside clubbing or something. And so I think, you know, it was perfect just the way it is. I think some things are just meant to be, and hopefully, you know, when the time comes, we can go back out and dance to these songs whenever the time is right.
I'm grateful that it served as like a form of escapism, at least during this time, for myself and people around. And my whole idea behind it was to still be able to like
create a fun world for people to enjoy even while they were at home, and I feel lucky that I had the opportunity to do that.
Future Nostalgia became the most streamed album by a woman and 5th most streamed album overall on Spotify in 2020. The album debuted at number 2 on the official UK albums chart, but then peaked at number 1 on the official UK albums chart the following week in April 2020, while 4 of the album's singles entered the top 10 of the official singles chart.
You always have to believe in yourself before anybody else, because that's the one thing that's always going to push you and your confidence and move you forwards. And I think that's, for any young girls, people, I guess, going to champion you until you get to where you want to be. And then people are going to try and bring you down or bring you down a couple pegs. But I think you have to remember that, you know, hard work and your dedication and your passion for what you do got you to where you want to be, and no one can take that away from you.
The album's closing track, Boys Will Be Boys, showed Dua Lipa once again demonstrating her feminist side. As she said, she wrote the song intending to start a conversation about toxic masculinity and the growing pains girls experience.
I think for women, you know, self-policing each other is second nature. You know, I for as long as I can remember myself, like going out with my friends alone, you would always send the text, or you would always ask your friends to make sure that they message you when they get home, or, you know, share your little Uber location thing. There's always this thing where we've just had to look out for each other and look out for ourselves a lot more. You know, when I wrote Boys Will Be Boys, it's very real. You know, you put your keys through your knuckles. This is something that I've done literally on my way back from school, for a 3-minute walk from the bus station to the flat that I was living in. It wasn't far at all, but because it was nighttime and I was all on my own, I put my keys between my knuckles like Wolverine, thinking that just in case something was to happen, I would be protected, or I would be able to look after myself. Or you'd walk down the street on your phone, and, you know, whether you were actually talking to someone or whether you were pretending to talk to someone, you were still trying to you know, protect yourself in some way. I definitely feel like having a platform is such a privilege. I definitely try and speak up about things that are incredibly important to me. I want to be able to be a voice for those that have trusted me. And because I talk about so much about female equality and female empowerment, it was just a song that just I felt like writing in that day in the studio. And I was like, well, this is just what happens. And what I felt when I was making Boys Will Be Boys is more so that I'm hoping that the younger generation will start asking questions. We'll be like, oh, why does this happen? Or why do you think she did this? Or this is like, you know, what sounds like quite a pretty song. Again, you're like hearing the lyrics and you're like, oh, this is something very real. It's again, us masking the things that we have to do. You know, the lyrics are quite like, they cut deep in so many ways, but then it's again, like masking it with something like pretty, you know? But I hope that it just starts a conversation, and obviously the conversations are already happening, and I think they need to continue to do so.
At the time of the album's release, Dua Lipa became the first British female artist since Vera Lynn to have 3 top 10 singles in a single calendar year, with Lynn having 3 in 1952.
You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah. Jewel, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
She eventually overrode this record with the single Levitating, which also peaked within the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, becoming her 3rd top 10 in the U.S. After a year of COVID lockdown rules and social distancing, the annual Brit Awards took place in May, held with a limited audience as a part of a trial to have a large crowd in a venue without any social distancing. The ceremony had a live audience of over 4,000 key workers from London.
It's all very surreal. It feels so nice to be home. It feels so nice to be in a room filled with people. It feels so nice to be celebrating British music.
It's just been really, really exciting throughout, and I feel so honoured and so grateful to have this opportunity and to be here tonight, and for everybody to do it safely, and hopefully this is like the first step into the new normal, so it feels really good.
Dua Lipa not only performed at the ceremony, but she also won 2 awards, one for British Album of the Year and another for British Female Solo Artist.
Well, being back on the Brit stage, I wanted to do something different, something special. So there's pressure that comes with that, but I'm very excited. It's different and it's fun, and just decided to go a little bit out there with the performance, but make it very London. So
what I wanted to do with my album was really just grow as an artist and as a performer, and create music that I was really proud of, something that I felt like really represented me and who I am, and helped me grow in so many different ways. And I definitely feel like I've built a lot more confidence. I feel like I'm becoming the performer I've always wanted to be. I feel like I've learned so much from so many experiences, and as a songwriter I feel like I've gotten a lot stronger, and there's been so many moments that have been really important, and this album means a lot to me. It was a lot about growth, and so to be awarded for this album means a lot.
At the 2021 Grammy Awards, Dua Lipa won an award for Best Pop Vocal Album for Future Nostalgia.
Future Nostalgia is such an important album to me, and I feel like I've really come into myself. I feel like I've gained so much confidence. I feel like I've learned how to be the artist that I've always wanted to be. I feel like I learned so much about music in general with my first album and the process of touring, that I knew what I wanted this album to be, and to get the recognition for it just means the absolute world. It's amazing. I'm very, very grateful. When I got nominated, I was so taken back by, first of all, I was so honored and grateful to have been nominated, but also the fact that I had already seen such a change just in the Best New Artist category, that it was predominantly women. And it felt like I was part of the change, and it felt like I was a part of this kind of new era, if you will, and more women being given all this recognition. And given what happened the year before, and I know Neil Portnam even came up and spoke about it, and kind of apologized for what he had said when he had said it, but it was still something that, in a time when so many women were doing so much, it felt like we weren't being given the recognition, and we weren't being, looked out for, really. And this year felt a little bit different, and it felt really good to just be nominated alongside so many artists that I love and I listen to and I think are so cool, and, give out so many incredible messages. And I feel like it just felt good, and it just felt right, and that's just what happened.
The ceremony was held despite the ongoing COVID pandemic, with extra measures put in place to keep everyone safe.
Well, obviously, because it's COVID, everybody kind of had to stay quite far apart. I definitely, we said hi to each other. It was really sweet, though. Like, as I was on my way to the press room after the Grammys, I bumped into Beyonce and Jay-Z on their way in, and I was just like, it's amazing, what you've done. And she was so graceful and humble and sweet. They both were, and they were very, very nice to me. And it was just amazing to, casually bump into them in the hallway and just have a little chat. I'm like.
Also in 2021, Dua Lipa teamed up with music legend Elton John and Australian electronic trio Pinyao for a collaborative new track called Cold Heart. The club-ready single seamlessly blended in the UK. Dua showed her versatility as a celebrity icon as she made her runway debut at Versace's Spring-Summer 2022 show at Milan Fashion Week, which was soundtracked by the tracks from her album Future Nostalgia.
I feel like my work life has changed a lot, but my personal life is still the same. I have, my friends and family, they keep me so grounded, and to them I'm just me, so it's all pretty normal at home, which is really nice.
Dua Lipa is only in her late 20s and has already achieved so much in such a short amount of time. Her music and undeniable talent has gained her widespread exposure and popularity.
I think that the one thing that I'm so grateful for is that it kind of opens so many doors for me to be able to work with so many other people that I love, and I get to be a bit more experimental, and I get to try out new things, which is always very exciting.
Her self-titled debut was the most streamed album in Spotify history. Now, she's currently breaking daily records for plays and streams around the world. The world should expect a ton more pop anthems and dance classics from Dua Lipa.